Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. Hope you're looking forward to a lot more this week. So we'll begin this week with a fourth part of accessibility features on your iPad, and that we're looking at Siri. What can Siri do for you? And prior to doing my research, I didn't realize Siri can do this, so many things. So we're going to look at some of the things Siri can do today. I'll start off with the video. However, I'm not going to play the whole video, just give you an example, just a touch of where we're going this morning and what Siri can do for you. So I'm going to start off with this. I can hear a TV, so if we can get that TV going.
Okay, let's talk Siri. Apple's voice assistant is still far from perfect, more than 10 years after it was released, but it is constantly improving and it can actually do more than you might realize. That's why for this video, I've compiled 10 of the most useful things that Siri can do that I reckon a lot of people have absolutely no idea about. I'm running this on an iPhone 13 Pro here in the UK on iOS 15.4.1, and I totally understand that not every single feature is going to work on every phone and in every country, but hopefully most of these will work for you. Stick with me to the end of the video. I've included an extra bonus tip that I think Harry Potter fans are really going to get a kick out of. Okay, let's get into it.
Okay.
My dad often calls me if he's struggling with his tech, and recently he called me saying that his iPhone screen had gone dark and he couldn't get it to go bright again. Long story short, he'd accidentally set his brightness to pretty much 0 and was struggling to see the screen to be able to set it back to its normal brightness. Now, for many people, especially those who don't have the best eyesight, this can be a real problem. Thankfully, the quickest and easiest way to fix this is to trigger Siri and simply say, set my screen brightness to 100%. And just like that, Siri will fully reinstate your screen brightness.
Okay, so that's an example of what Siri can do without even panicking, just talking. But of course, you've got to set Siri up first in order to say, Siri, set my brightness to 100%. Perhaps if we have time, we'll go back and listen to the rest of the information he's about to share. But I wanted to move in and then, like I said, because he's sharing the 10 tips, but I wanted to go into it a little bit more than that. So,
okay, let's talk Siri.
So let's talk Siri. All right. All right, so Siri, you can use Siri on your iPad to get information and perform tasks. Siri and its response appears on the top of what you're currently doing, allowing you to refer to information on screen. So I'm hoping that by now everybody knows that this here is your Siri. When you see this light up on your iPad, that says Siri is listening. This is what you got to be aware of. All right, so Siri is interactive. When Siri displays a web link, you can tap to see more information in your default web browser. When the on-screen response from Siri includes buttons or controls, you can tap them to take further action. And you can tap Siri again to ask another question or do an additional task for you. So Siri can even get a web browser going for you. You might, Siri, take me to Amazon.com, and it will. All right, so you can use Siri to quickly check facts, do calculations, or translate a phrase into another language. For example, you can say, hey Siri, what causes a rainbow? Siri will explain. Hey Siri, what does a cat sound like? And Siri would respond. Hey Siri, what is the derivative of cosine X? That's a math question. That's actually trigonometry. It will respond. And here, Siri, how do you thank you in Mandarin? You want to learn Mandarin? Siri will say it for you. Yep. Siri. Yep. All right. So you can use Siri to control apps with your voice. Say something like, "Here, Siri, set up a meeting with Gordon at 9 to create an event in your calendar."
What's the name of the new event?
See, she's responding. That's my phone. Hey, Siri.
When should I?
Yeah. Hey, Siri, add artichokes to my grocery list and add an item to reminder. Hey, Siri, send a message to Po Chung. Saying, you want to message? See, she's responding again. Saying, love you, heart, emojis, and then send a text using message. She's going to respond. To who? She wants to know to who, because I don't have Po Chung on my contact list. Hey, Siri, what's my update? To get an update about the weather in your area, the news, your reminder and calendar events, and more. All these things Siri can do for you. I don't see an app for that. You'll need to download one. Okay, thank you, Siri. All right, for example, let's look at some more. Siri announces calls, messages on your iPad. You can use Siri to play music on your iPad and listen to music with Apple Music Voice on iPad. You can control your home using Siri on iPad. You can use Siri Maps and the map widget to get directions on Siri and add Siri shortcuts on your iPad. And we're gonna look at those shortcuts. Okay, you can share on-screen items like photos, web pages, content from Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, maps, location, and more using Siri. Here's something interesting. You can personalize your experience with Siri. The more you use Siri, the better it knows what you need. You can also tell Siri about yourself and change how and when Siri responds. Okay, so, and there's a list of things that you can, Siri suggestions on iPad, tell Siri about yourself, change your Siri setting. You can also use accessibility features, which is where our goal is for today. You can tell Siri about yourself, information, including your home, your work address, your relationships. For more personalized experience, you can say things like, give me driving directions home and FaceTime mom. Yep. All right. Tell Siri who you are. You can go into contacts, open contacts, and then fill out contacts, right? You can actually introduce yourself to Siri. All right. Tell Siri how to say your name. You can open contacts, then tap on the contact card, tap edit, scroll down and tap, because Siri's get a little confused with names and the pronunciations of them, especially if you have a very unusual name. So I've got a brief video I want you to look at, very brief, on how to really set it up so that she can, or he, depending on the voice that you choose, you could choose a male. Okay, so let's look at this one.
Siri is a great tool to use, but sometimes she just cannot pronounce things correctly. So what we're going to do is show you how to fix that, and it's usually your own name that's a problem or someone else's. So we'll show you with your name, and you can use those steps pretty much for anyone else's name that's having a problem. If it's not picking their name up correctly, a lot of times you won't be able to even text them or call them. So this is something you want to make sure you get done correctly so you can go ahead and get in touch with them using Siri. Welcome everybody, I'm Kevin from HelpfulTutorials.net. If you're new here, make sure you do me a favor, smack that subscribe button. I really hope you enjoy the content. I try to put out anything that I think will be helpful and get you using your phone even better. With that said, let's go ahead and jump right in and show you exactly what to do. So first, we need to let Siri know who you are. So in your contacts, you want to go ahead and make a contact similar to this one. So I've made one here for Helpful Tutorials, and I have it set up here. And once you create one with your name, you could also put your email address if you want and more facts about yourself. Once we get that set up, we'll go into settings. Once we're in settings, we're going to scroll down to Siri and search, and then we'll go ahead and select that. Here you have something that says My Information. You want to click on that and make sure you select your name or your contact. So here we have Helpful Tutorials selected, so we're all set there. You also want to make sure you're able to turn Siri on at the top by saying things like, you could turn on Listen for Hey Siri. You can turn that on if you'd like. Hey Siri. Hey Siri, send a message. Hey Siri, how's the weather today? Hey Siri, set a timer for 3 minutes. And finally say, hey Siri, play some music. So once you turn Hey Siri on, that's gonna have it, so it should activate when you say it, but it doesn't always. It should though. So now we have that set up, and we also have the helpful tutorials set up. So now we'll do, hey Siri, what's my name?
You're asking me? Helpful.
Hey Siri, what's my full name?
Here's the contact information for helpful tutorials. What would you like to know?
Hey Siri, you pronounced my name wrong.
Okay, let me hear how you say the name.
Helpful?
Okay, thank you. Which pronunciation is it okay to use? Helpful.
That one's perfect.
Okay, let me hear how you say the name.
Tutorials.
Okay, thank you. Which pronunciation is it okay to use? Tutorials.
That's perfect there. We'll go ahead and select that one.
Okay, I'll remember how to pronounce helpful tutorials from now.
All right, now we got that set up. So now from all this time, helpful tutorials will be said correctly. So that's what you want to do for your contact or any other contacts that have a problem. You can go in there and choose it that way. Something else you could do is also choose it phonetically within the contact. If you go back in the contact and then you choose edit at the top, scroll down and choose add field. Phonetic first name, or pronounce first name, you could choose phonetic last name. You could choose phonetic, and then you can type it how you want it to be phonetically. Now I'm not really good at that, so I'll let you do that. So you could always Google that to see how the phonetic pronunciation is, if it is a word that is commonly used or a name, and you could type that in there. So those are the two ways to get Siri set up correctly.
Okay, so you get an idea how to get Siri to pronounce your name in your contacts correctly.
Siri is a great tool to use, but sometimes she just can't.
All right, so now we're going to learn how to tell Siri about a relationship.
Hey, what's up everybody, this is Dom, and today on iOS Advice I'm going to show you how to add relationships to Siri. Now what I mean by that is being able to tell Siri something like, tell my sister to call me later, or call my brother, stuff like that. And you can add those relationships right within Siri or within your contacts here, and I'm going to show you how to set that all up. So first, let me give you a demonstration of this. I do have one set up as my brother already, and I'm going to go ahead and show you how it works. Tell my brother to meet me at 6 p.m.
Here's your message to Banana.
So as you can see there, that's exactly how this functionality works. And you can set up these relationships right within Siri. So let's tell Siri that another contact is my sister. Cherry is my sister.
Okay, do you want me to remember that Cherry is your sister?
Yes.
Okay, Dom. I've added this relationship.
Okay, so as you can see there, it has added that relationship right below my email address. So we have brother banana, sister cherry, and so on and so forth. You can do things like that. Pineapple is my grandma.
Okay, do you want me to remember that Pineapple is your grandmother?
Yes.
Okay, Dom. I've added this relationship.
So that is pretty much the easiest way to do it right through Siri there, but like I said, you can also do it through your contacts. Now, in order to make this work, you do have to have yourself set up as a contact, and you do have to specify that to Siri. And you can do that by going into the settings here and going to General, then going down to Siri here, and you have My Info. If you tap on that, it'll allow you to choose a contact here. I have Dom Esposito chosen, and then you can back out. But after that, if you go into your contacts and you select your contact, tap on Edit in the top corner here. If you scroll down, you'll see that you have these relationship fields if you've already added them via Siri. If not, you can tap on the add field button and select a relationship to add there. But we already have this here. We can go ahead and tap on this name of the relationship on the side here, and we can select any of these different options: friend, spouse, partner, assistant, manager, other, parent, brother, all kinds of things. And we can also add custom labels too. So if you want to call somebody your super awesome best friend, you can add a custom field there. So you can create those relationships just like that, but it has to be done within your contact profile. Like I said, it's much easier to just do it through Siri, and you can say any of your contacts' names, like Orange is my father.
Okay, do you want me to remember that Orange is your father?
And we can just tap on yes there. So you can say anything like call my father, call my brother, anything like that. Tell my sister hello. And just like that, it'll pull up. So as you can see, it's a pretty convenient way to use Siri, and it's probably one of my favorite. I have all my relationships set up on my device, and I use it on a daily basis. Go ahead and check it out, and let us know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. This is Dom, and have a great day.
All right, so now you get an idea of
So it said, tell your sister hello. Tell my sister hello. So it's gonna.
At first, you have to identify who your sister is in your contact.
Right. And
then once it's identified who your sister is in contact, then Siri will know who to say hello to.
So how is it going to say hello to her? In a text or?
In a text, exactly.
Oh, okay.
In a text, yes. That's a good one. I'm glad you brought that up. In a text.
Okay.
Yeah. Got it?
Thank you. Yeah,
okay.
I got it.
Here's go ahead.
Is there any way you can take your regular contacts, send them to Siri automatically, and then put a son or my daughter at each name, who that person is?
We're going to go there in a little while to contacts.
Okay.
We're going there in a little while.
I'm trying to find an easy way.
Okay, so you can keep what Siri knows about you up to date on all your devices, like if you have more than one device. And that's, for example, like myself, I've got an Apple phone, I've got an Apple Watch, I've got a desktop, I've got an iPad. So all of my devices can be updated on who I am when it comes to Siri.
Okay.
All right, Siri and a reminder app. Here's how to use Siri with your Remind app. This is one of the best reasons for using Siri Reminder is the way that they integrate so seamlessly together. All right, so let's look at this one.
Hello and welcome to another episode of my Working with Apple series. My name is Carl Pauline, and this week it's all about using Siri with reminders. Now, Siri works with many of Apple's built-in features. It can actually work well with a lot of third-party applications, although some of those I've not had a lot of luck with. But certainly with the built-in Apple applications, Siri is a fantastic tool to use. Now this week what I want to do is focus on the Reminders app and using the right kind of words to get Siri to totally understand exactly what it is you want her to do for you. Now before we go any further, I would just like to ask, if you do get any value from this video, then please help me by clicking on that like button below. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you want to get all the latest tips, tricks and news on using Apple's applications, then please subscribe to my channel. Okay, let me now take you into my Apple reminders with a little help from Siri and show you just some of the wonderful things you can do with Siri and reminders. Okay, so here we are with my Reminders app open, And for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know all about my time sector system. This is just a demo account. This is my old phone, but I can show you how to use Siri to get the most out of your Reminders app. And there's a few things that you just need to be aware of. So let's just take a simple example. And this is how I actually use Reminders on a day-to-day basis. If you can see down at the bottom, I've got a shopping list. Now, my shopping list is not part of the time sector system, but I do use Reminders very much for my shopping list. So what I can do is something like, hey Siri, add broccoli to my shopping list.
All right, I've added it to your shopping list.
So now what you'll see is in my shopping list, I have broccoli, and this is a fantastic use for reminders, particularly if you're like me and you actually use a different kind of to-do list manager. On my day-to-day life, I use an application called Todoist, but I do actually use my shopping list is actually in my Reminders app, because I can share that with my wife, and actually while I'm cooking I don't usually have my phone with me, but I actually use my Apple Watch to do the same thing, and it adds the list into there. Now the thing about adding a task to a specific list, you do have to be very clear about the list. So for example, I could say, hey Siri, add call Jeff to my this week's list.
Which list should I add it to? This week or next week? Done.
So this is why you've got to be very careful about how you actually say the word. So as you can see, I've got call Jeff written into this week. So you've got to be very, very clear about how you're going to do it. Now those are just the basic ones, but now you can start getting a little bit clever. So for example, hey Siri, remind me to buy milk tomorrow morning.
Okay, your reminder is set for tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
So what Siri has done is she has, oops, I've gone into my calendar. Let's go back into my Reminders app. So what Siri has done is she identifies my task morning as meaning 7 a.m. So if I do another one, hey Siri, remind me to call Sarah tomorrow afternoon.
Okay, your reminder is set for tomorrow at noon.
So what Siri is doing there is she is interpreting my morning at 7 a.m. and she's interpreting the afternoon as lunchtime 12 p.m. So I could also add, hey Siri, remind me to call Mum tomorrow evening.
Okay, your reminder is set for tomorrow at 1800 hours.
So basically what we have is evening time, Siri is interpreting that as 6 p.m. Afternoon time, she's interpreting it as 12. So really basically at the very beginning of the day. So these are some of the things that you can do. Now let's just take another example. If I go into Safari, we'll just randomly pick, we've got a Doist here. So let's just take this. Let's just say as I'm going through this, I think, oh yeah, I want to, so I could sort of copy this. Use to do is to organize your life or work. So let's just say I want to get that, and what I can do now from there is what I can do from that is I can go into share. So I'm going to share that to my Reminders app. So I can just do that, and I can just add that task. Now what you'll find is that's come up now as plan ahead with Todoist, upcoming view, a spacious way to view tasks. So we've got that there, but what it's actually also done is it's added the link to the part that I copied. And that's one of the cool things about using Reminders. It is actually a very, very robust to-do list manager. And there's a couple of other things that you can do. So for example, hey Siri, remind me to cook dinner when I get home.
Okay, your reminder is set.
So what you can see now is I've got a what we call a geofenced here. Siri knows my home address, so now when I arrive home, that I'm going to get this reminder to cook dinner. Now, of course, if you're working in an office, you can actually geofence your office so that you can actually add tasks to that one. So those are just some of the things that you can do with Siri to remind yourself to actually do sort of tasks as they come up. And it's just a really, really good way of using Siri to quickly add tasks into your reminders. And it's something I see a lot of people actually forget things to do. Another one that you could do is just one more, and let's just go into just find a task in here. Do we have a link in here? We don't have a so let's just go to this one in to do it. So I could just now, hey Siri, remind me about this when I get home.
Okay, your reminder is set.
So what I've actually done here is, if I now go back into my Todoist, that particular article will now be, I will be reminded of that when I get home. Now you could do this, obviously, remind me about this when I get back to the office. And you can do this with email as well. So I don't know if I've actually got an email in here, because this is not, I don't know if, oh yeah. So let's just say I've opened this email. I can say, hey Siri, remind me about this email tomorrow morning.
Okay, your reminder is set for tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
So what I've got now is, if I go back to my reminders, I can actually see this. This is going to come up. And as you can see, there is a link directly to the email. There's a link to the Safari webpage. You know, to do it, I'm saying to do it, Apple Reminders is such a powerful to-do list system because it's actually built into your whole Apple ecosystem. So whether you're using an iPad or whether you're using an iPhone, you can just get Siri to remind you about these things. And these are just some of those little amazing little features that you can use with Apple's Reminders app. You can actually do this with notes as well. You can say, hey Siri, just add this to my notes app. And, yeah, she's not going to find a matching note. But anyway, you can actually create all sorts of things doing that. So hopefully you found this useful. I strongly recommend that you have a play around with Siri and using reminders. It can save you so much time, particularly if you're using the iPad Pro with the keyboard. It's almost like having your own MacBook, but it's using the iOS system. It's such a powerful way of getting stuff into your reminders app. So there you go. Thank you very much for watching this episode.
Okay, so you got some ideas of how you can use Siri with your reminder app.
Hello and welcome to another episode.
Hold on. There you go. So Siri also does something else. It announces calls, messages, and more. Yes, Siri will, it's supported by, you can answer or reply using your voice without needing to say, hey Siri. It announces calls and notification.
You're at 149 Oakgrass Drive, Grayson, Georgia.
So that's, hold on. So now, let me just kill this. It's just announced a call coming in on my phone. So here we are. Siri will do that for you. So, and that's if you also have, other than FaceTime on your iPad, I know you all have, the only device you have really, unless you have an iPhone as well, then she'll do them both. But if you don't have an iPhone, she will announce your FaceTime calls coming in. And you need to set that up. You'd have to go into Siri and then choose it. And when the call comes in, Siri will identify the caller and ask if you want to answer, say yes to accept, say no to decline. All right, so Siri can, again, announce notifications. And of course, we looked at reminders and messages. All right, so to announce notifications, you would have to, again, go into settings, go into Siri, and then go into notifications and add Siri to it. All right. Now, you can add Siri. Siri has many shortcuts on various apps on your iPad. The apps can offer you shortcuts for things that you do frequently. You can use Siri to initiate shortcuts with just your voice. Some apps have Siri shortcuts set up automatically, and you can also create your own. All right, here we're gonna look now at some Zoom and shortcuts with using Siri.
Hi, I'm Jen Hill, Product Marketing Manager at Zoom, and I'm joined by Alex Luke, our Head of Accessibility. At Zoom, we want to help deliver happy meetings for everyone. So we think it's important to try to be as accessible as possible. So I'm going to show you a few features today to help make your Zoom meetings more accessible for everyone. I will cover closed captioning and closed caption settings, multi-pinning, multi-spotlight, and video reordering, keyboard and screen reader alerts, and sharing slides as a virtual background. First, to start closed captioning, open a new web browser. Go to zoom.us.
This is assuming you have a Zoom account. Create it. And
in the left-hand navigation, click on Settings. The next menu that comes up, the fourth option down, click In Meeting Advanced. This will take you to see closed captioning. Make sure that closed captioning is turned on, meaning the toggle is to the right and colored blue. Next, go into your meeting and click on the participants. You can now see that I have a guest captioner. Hover over your captioner and more will appear. Click on the down arrow and select Assign to Type Closed Caption. And now Matthew can type closed captions for us. Next, let's look at multi-spotlight and multi-pin. Spotlight or pinning a video means that these videos can be put in place no matter who is speaking. You can then see your interpreter no matter if the speaker changes and the video changes. To do this, hover over a video. You will see 3 small dots appear in the top right corner of that video. Clicking on those 3 dots, you'll see a menu now that says Pin or Spotlight for Everyone. As a host, I can spotlight for everyone's video, making sure that everyone in the meeting can see this spotlighted video. I can also select another video to be spotlighted in the same way. Hover over the video, click on the 3 dots, and hit Add Spotlight. And now you can see that no matter who is speaking, that these 2 videos will always appear. For example, if Alex begins to talk, his video will not appear, and the 2 spotlighted videos will stay.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, Alex. To remove the spotlight, hover back over the video and click on the 3 dots.
This may not be applicable to you unless you're organizing a meeting.
And the same thing for the second spotlight video. Now, let's look at reordering videos in gallery view. In the top right corner, click View and Gallery. You will now see everyone's video in the meeting. Simply click on a video and drag them to reorder in the position of your choosing. You can do this to make sure your interpreter is always in the most comfortable spot. Now let's look at closed caption options. On the closed caption button in the up arrow, select that and you can see subtitle settings. This will bring up a new window with all of your accessibility settings. You can see the adjustment size for captions in the slider across the top.
That's to increase your caption.
The display size of your chat. And you can manage your screen reader alerts. You can also see a list of keyboard shortcuts available for your meetings. Last, let's take a look at sharing slides as a virtual background. For example, if Alex were to share his video on top of his background, as a presenter, he can then move his video and resize to make this more visually accessible for everyone. Lastly, when you're presenting content, make sure that the contrast between the text color and the background is enough so that it's easy to read.
Okay, so that's basically just an idea of what, it didn't really get into what Siri can do. I was hoping that it did, but I do have another one that I'd like to share. I'm going to go there in a little while. Okay, so now I'm actually going there using Siri with Zoom. So it allows you to perform certain actions using Siri. You can set up Siri shortcuts in the Zoom app that will allow you to join the next meeting scheduled. Okay, you can view today's meeting or start your own personal meeting. You can also start a Zoom meeting with a contact in Zoom without setting up a Siri shortcut. All right, so, to even do that, certain things must be in place. They're saying prerequisites for using Siri with Zoom. You must go into settings, of course, and then go into accessibility and then into Zoom and so forth to set that up. Okay, so how to add Zoom shortcuts to Siri. Open the Zoom app, tap settings, tap the shortcut, Siri shortcut, choose the shortcut you would like to add and tap Add to Siri. Tap the red record button to record the sound for the shortcut and tap Done to save the recorded sound. This is just one of them, but I have, so this is a video I'm hoping that you will gain from. Start Zoom, start my personal meeting.
Hello, so let's explore this new popular feature in Zoom, which is called Siri Shortcuts. So if you open Zoom app on iPhone, iOS device, if you go to settings, you will see a tab here called Siri Shortcuts. So you can use some short phrases added to Siri to faster perform some Zoom related tasks. So for example, you want to start your personal meeting and you can say something like, hey Siri, start a personal meeting, and then it will trigger for Zoom app to start a personal meeting. So just tap here, and then when you say start my personal meeting, you can just, the app will start the meeting in Zoom. Something like that. Hey Siri, start my personal meeting. So there you have it. So that's the idea. You've just seen it. So that's how it works. So hope that is helpful. That's how you add these Siri shortcuts.
Okay, let's move in right next. Long.
Hello, so let's explore this new popular.
He showed an example of how to start your personal meeting, but you can also, and I'll show that to you on an iPad in a little while after this, how to actually join today's meeting using Siri. But it's going to take some setting up for that to happen. So I will not be going through the setup during this meeting, but another session because what's happened is that we created a calendar, a monthly calendar, so that every month you can go, or the beginning of each month, to see all the topics that are going to be covered from the training session. And you can simply go, and in that calendar will be on your iPad, and you could simply say, Siri, show me what meetings I have scheduled today, and Siri will do that. Siri will also have you join the next meeting. So that's the goal. I'm going to wrap up with this, and then I'm going to go to the iPad and actually show you what I mean there. All right, so here's some nice things you can do with Siri. It says Siri, can pigs fly? And Siri will respond. Siri, can you make me laugh? These are all questions, a whole host of things that you can ask Siri to do, and Siri will respond. So I'm going to end this now. I'm going to actually stop this showing on this, and then go now to the iPad itself. Start viewing it here. Start showing screen here on the iPad. And then we're going to go in and look at what I'm speaking about. But this part is actually going to take a class for me to have you all assist you in setting up. It's not going to happen now because there's some steps involved there. So I just started sharing my screen on the iPad. And now I am going to go to my Zoom, and let's see if I can go home to Zoom. Now notice here, if you have a Zoom account, and I'm hoping by now all of you have your own Zoom account. It's very easy. If you have your Zoom own, you can see, you can have caption. There's so many things you can do, and it's free. So everyone by now should have their own Zoom account. For example, if I wanted to see what meetings I have, if you notice on my iPad, it says here in progress, right here. You can see it says mod. That would be this afternoon meeting that's coming. So if I wanted to check what meetings I have, you could see it's telling me in Zoom, basically what meetings, and I could tap any one of these to actually join the meeting. And that's the goal, is that I will get you there at some point. For example, if I wanted to, let's see, tap this one here. It says this afternoon, I can start my meeting if I wanted to right now, if I care to. But these are the various things that Siri, once you get Siri up and running, Siri will even get things started for you. So in here, where I'm showing right now, the first thing I'm going to need to do, and that is to train you all at some point, how to sync your calendar with the calendar that we now have available, where you can access, look at what's going on for the next month. And so I have it here. It says integrated calendar. That's the calendar you will have on your iPad. We'll have to show you how that happens. And I've got it synced. And so from there, I now can go to see what meetings do I have in place. For example, I've got, and I can actually ask Siri, and where I'm going to go in a little while, to start any of these meetings. I should be able to do that. I can't do it right now because I'm already using Zoom as my audio, so I can't show you, but the goal is to get you to understand it at some point, where once we get that arranged and set up and get your calendar on your iPad where you're integrated, we can simply go to Siri and say, please start today's meeting, and it will. Okay, let's see. So that's the meetings. Let's see, what else do we have here? Should be able to, I wanted to show you the Siri's shortcut here. Let's see. It should be somewhere here. Sync calendar, Acts, general. I'm looking to where it should show here. Use audio. Let's go to settings now and see what I'm speaking of. So I'm going to go into settings, and let's say if I wanted to go to Zoom and I want to ask Zoom to start today's meeting. So I'm going, first thing I need to do is set it up so it can. I'm going to go to Zoom. Zoom is up. Get this out of the way. So I'm in Zoom, and in Zoom here, I should be able to focus, start typing, keyboard shortcuts. Let's drop this keyboard for a little while. These over here to the left, these are all what I should be able to do in Zoom. Let's see it here. Let me try another access. I'm going to go into Siri. Siri accessibility. Okay. All right. So I'm now in Siri and then accessibility. And in here, I should be able to, I have Siri turned on. So at some point, I should be able to say to Siri, start today's meeting, and Siri will do it for me. But in order for that, I have to have Siri synced with today's meeting calendar, where the meeting ID is. Siri knows where to go and get that meeting started. Any questions while I'm in here at Siri's? Now we're going to go to Siri's contact. I know I did have a question earlier about Siri's and contacts. Here, I'm actually in Siri and search. I'm in the contact portion of it. And here I have turned on show contents. I've got Siri and my contacts integrated, synced. So if I say Siri, call Suzanne, Siri will then go to my contact and call Suzanne. That's providing Suzanne is on FaceTime too, because that's on the iPad. That's the only way I can call, is using FaceTime. I don't know if that helps for the question that I had relative to that. All right, so I'm open for questions while I have the iPad open.
Yes, that helps, Teresa.
It did help, Vera?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So you've got to go here first and turn it on.
Hopefully I can do it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions while I have the settings open as to, and this is relative to Siri. No questions relative to Siri?
Teresa, can you, I heard you say you can tell Siri
to play music from the Apple app, can you tell it to play it from the DC Public Library app? Will it do that?
Ah, that's an interesting question. I would have to go and see if the app, I would have to have the app. I'd have to go into the app, into the settings of the app to see if I could sync it with Siri.
Oh, okay.
So how does Siri work when it comes to these various apps? Is that the app has to be, how can I say, compatible, it has to be able to be configured with Siri. Okay. For example, reminders. Remember he showed you in reminders that you can, contacts you can. Let's go to reminders. You can see the various apps that Siri is configured with. Let's go now. I'm going to go to reminders so you can see. I'm going to go to the reminder app. Reminder, I guess groceries, no. All right, there we go. Notice Siri's up there. So if you want to know whether Siri can do something for you, it must be already configured with that app. Does that make sense, Brenda?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So Siri's already configured. I don't have it turned on, but I can go in here and notice Siri will now, I can use reminders and Siri together.
Okay.
Teresa, is that also possible with a third party like Sirius XM?
Yes, Siri is set up for third parties. Not sure quite what third party apps, but let's see if we can find it. I'm gonna go into, let's go to, hold on. I'm going to go to Safari and I'm going to put in search here and go into Google and see what third-party apps, right? That's a very good, so let's put in here Siri and third-party apps. Here it is, showing here. And how to use Siri with third-party apps on the iPhone. I'm assuming how to control third iOS apps with Siri. So yes, but which ones, I don't know. Can Siri open third-party apps? Can you see that question?
Yes, I see it.
Yeah, it says here that iOS require, you need to install the third-party apps which you wish to use and which have Siri support. Okay. Other than that, you'll have to manually enable Siri to support the third-party app, which is what I had to manually do for the reminder app, for the contact app. You've got to do it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Once you have it downloaded.
All right, got it.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Do the name change? Teresa, can you change her name, Siri, to another name?
You want me to go to where? All right. Let's go to.
You know, like you could say another name instead of Siri.
Oh, that part I don't know. Oh, the question.
I used to say hello. That'll work.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't want to say Siri, I say hello, because when I have both the iPad and the iPhone going, they don't. Both of them will answer, and I when I need one to, answer, that's why I distinguish and don't say hello Siri. I'll say hello.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
What about changing the voice of Siri? Do you know how to do that, Teresa?
The language, yeah. But before we go there, Deborah, I have Vincent, and then I'll go to you, Deborah.
Okay, sorry about that.
Let me go to Vincent first.
No problem.
He's been waiting, and then I'll go to you, Deborah. Okay.
All right.
Vincent, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning. Can you hear me, Miss Teresa?
Yes.
I was wondering, could you use the tablet to like make regular calls and receive calls without using Siri?
No. Okay. So, and that's a good question. The only app on your iPad, first you need an app to make calls, okay? You must have an app. Everything is all driven by apps. So the only app on your iPad that I know of, unless you've installed one, is FaceTime.
Okay.
And to FaceTime and to call someone on FaceTime, the other person must also have the FaceTime app, which means they must have an Apple device. They can have an iPad, they can have the desktop, they can have even the Apple phone or the Apple Watch. So it must be app to app.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Does that make sense? All right,
yes,
Deborah, you wanted to change the voice on Siri?
Yes, I was hoping you could help me. I understand you can change the accent or whether it's a guy or a girl.
I would think so. So let's go back to settings.
And yeah, you can. My granddaughter just told me you can. You could change it to a guy in the accent.
Siri's language. We have Siri's language, my Siri voice. Let's go to voice. Siri voice. All right. I'm going there. And it says here, okay, these are the various accents. Can you see to the right of my screen?
Yes.
And they have different voices. So let's try some of these voices.
I'm Siri. All right.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Okay.
Do we go British?
All right, let's choose, all right, British.
Hi, I'm Siri. Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Okay.
Lovely.
Indian.
Yes.
I'm Siri.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Irish.
I'm Siri. Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
Okay. So those are the voices.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Anything else in Siri while I'm here?
You can change to a male too, Teresa, to a man.
Yeah. Let's find out where that option is.
Hi, I'm Siri. Choose the voice you'd like me to use.
You should be able to change that. Let's see, suggestion lock screen. To look up the Siri voice is where we at. Siri info. Here's Siri, press home, language. Okay, let me cancel this. Siri responses, announce calls, Siri's let's see. So, here's some apps that Siri, here's some third-party apps.
Oh, good.
Here they are right here, wow. That Siri will respond to. Wow, that's interesting. I didn't know that was there.
Is Sirius on the list? Is Sirius on the list, Teresa?
No, Siri is where we're at.
No, I said it's Sirius, the radio.
I hear you. Now I get you. You're talking about that radio station. I would have to have it download on my iPad.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
I would have to have it
downloaded on mine so I can
iPad.
select it. Thank you.
Yeah. And these are apps that are on my iPad. So Siri's dictate my information. And now called Siri's voice. We have it on Irish right now. We have it on English. Anything else here?
Can I ask one more question?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you was explaining to us about how to go in and get the calendar, the events. How do I ask Siri to do the events for me? Is it weekly, monthly? How would I ask her?
Okay, so the first things you would have to do there is Siri must have access to a calendar where your events are.
Okay.
And once Siri has access to that, then Siri would be able to go in there and look for the events. And that is done where, let's go back. I'm going back to Zoom.
Okay.
And in Zoom, notice I'm in Zoom now in the calendar, and I can go to whatever. Okay, let's move this out the way. Notice these are all, I now have Zoom integrated into my calendar. And I also have Siri configured to go to my calendar.
Oh.
Oh, yes. Siri don't know where to go until you tell Siri where to go. And you have to configure that. So the first thing is that you must have your calendar on Zoom, integrated into Zoom, which is what I have here. Right? Once I have that, then the next thing is, let me see if I can find my calendar on my iPad. I'm going to see if I could find the calendar on my iPad. Let me see. That's notes. Aha. Can you see my calendar? I have Zoom integrated. I can now go to my calendar and then tap join the meeting. The next meeting. Do you see that? To my right, it says that the next meeting that's coming up is, well, on my calendar, that is at 1:30. And I can simply tap where it says join meeting. That's because I have it integrated already in Zoom.
Okay.
And then once I do that, then I'm basically, let's tap it and see what it says. It's actually here. Well, you see, I'm already in Zoom, so it's letting me know I'm in a meeting already. But
right.
Yeah, but that's where I would go. First, I need to integrate that calendar into Zoom. Then I also have to have Siri configured to go to the calendar.
All righty.
And once Siri knows where to go and get the information on the next meeting, that's when Siri will start the meeting for you.
Okay.
Making sense?
All right. Yes.
But it's a process. So it's not an easy task for me to just show you right now. I'd like to
I understand.
slides on how to do it. And that's going to take me some while. So I want to get back to this part at a later date and how to do it. But at first, I want to make sure that everybody's calendars are integrated on their iPad. That's the task too, is to get that done.
Okay.
And we're working on that right now.
All righty.
Okay. So that's
yes, ma'am.
to come. That's to come. All right. Do I have any?
Thank you so much.
Geraldine. Go ahead, Geraldine.
Teresa, you just answered my question. You said you're working on getting everybody's calendar integrated on the iPad. But my question really was about that, but it was about, I was confused. I thought you had, I'm going to ask it later on because it's getting off subject, because I thought you had to be a part of Zoom. In other words, you had to be the person who starts the meeting. That person was the only one that could integrate the iPad.
Well, okay, so we can integrate once you have access to the integrated calendar.
Yeah,
you should be able to go into that calendar and tap on join the meeting.
But you're going to show us that later on.
Yes. Okay. Once we get it all set up, we're working on our end.
All right.
Get that integrated calendar to the point where you all access it and just tap join meeting.
All right.
Yeah. I can't manage that. That's come from the technology higher level. And my boss is currently working on that right now.
All right.
I put in a request. That's what I did.
Okay. Yeah, that's all you can do.
Yeah. And it came up in this morning's meeting that he's working on getting that done. And that's going to be done through October. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's a good question, Geraldine. Any other questions? Any other questions before we wrap up today's meeting? Yep, we're just about finished. We're at that 11:30 hour. And so Ron Thompson will be on at 12 with today's sports events for those of you who enjoy sports. And Ron does such an excellent job with it. Whether you enjoy it or not, he makes it interesting. And then, of course, at 1:30, we'll be on with the module 4. Okay.
So, Teresa, if I say Siri, go to my calendar, it won't do it unless it's programmed to do it?
Yes, it has to be configured. You got to tell Siri. Well, first you got to go into your calendar and tell it to turn on Siri, to give Siri access to your calendar.
Okay. All right.
Everything is done by permissions.
Oh, okay. That's all of the apps. Is that right?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay.
Just like the third-party apps. If you have third-party apps, Siri can listen to them through those third-party apps.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well, thank you.
Okay. All right. So with that said, I'm going to wrap it up for this morning advanced class. Thank you for participating. And hopefully I'll see you all for module 4 this afternoon. If I don't, then tomorrow we have on our calendar, we have Transport DC with Metro Access in the afternoon. Of course, we have Lunch Hour Club, and then followed by Metro Access in the afternoon.
Okay.
For those of you who may have a need for that. So that brings me to the end of today's session. Hope you learned something from I'm going to wrap it up though with that one video that I started. If you want to continue listening to it, the one that I started that had the 10 tricks, I'm going to go ahead and play that now.
Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate it.
It's about 10 minutes long. Close
Okay.
I'll go ahead and play it now.
Okay, let's talk Siri. Okay, let's talk Siri. Apple's voice assistant is still far from perfect, more than 10 years after it was released, but it is constantly improving, and it can actually do more than you might realize. That's why, for this video, I've compiled 10 of the most useful things that...
Hold on, I'm trying to enlarge it. So give me a chance to do that. I'm putting it into a slideshow. That way, start from current.
Okay, let's talk Siri. Apple's voice assistant is still far from perfect, more than 10 years.
Give me a second, let me enlarge it.
Okay, let's talk Siri. Apple's voice assistant is still far.
Hold on.
Okay, let's talk Siri. Apple's voice assistant is still far from perfect, more than 10 years after it was released, but it is constantly improving, and it can actually do more than you might realize. That's why, for this video, I've compiled 10 of the most useful things that Siri can do that I reckon a lot of people have absolutely no idea about. I'm running this on an iPhone 13 Pro here in the UK on iOS 15.4.1. And
Teresa, we can't see the video. Oh, you can't? Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, let me check. All right, hold on. And let's see. I think it's starting to do now. Hold on. Still a little bit more I want to do. We improve it. And now I can run.
Okay, let's talk Siri. Apple's voice assistant is still far from perfect, more than 10 years after it was released, but it is constantly improving, and it can actually do more than you might realize. That's why, for this video, I've compiled 10 of the most useful things that Siri can do that I reckon a lot of people have absolutely no idea about. I'm running this on an iPhone 13 Pro here in the UK on iOS 15.4.1, and I totally understand that not every single feature is going to work on every phone and in every country, but hopefully most of these will work for you. Stick with me to the end of the video. I've included an extra bonus tip that I think Harry Potter fans are really going to get a kick out of. Okay, let's get into it. My dad often calls me if he's struggling with his tech, and recently he called me saying that his iPhone screen had gone dark and he couldn't get it to go bright again. Long story short, he'd accidentally set his brightness to pretty much 0 and was struggling to see the screen to be able to set it back to its normal brightness. Now, for many people, especially those who don't have the best eyesight, this can be a real problem. Thankfully, the quickest and easiest way to fix this is to trigger Siri and simply say, set my screen brightness to 100%. And just like that, Siri will fully reinstate your screen brightness. It works the other way also. You can say set my screen brightness to 50%, or you can be less specific and just say something like make my screen brighter, for example. It also works for audio volume, just in case you're interested. Have you ever been explaining something to someone or someone to someone, and you just wanted to be able to quickly show them a photo of that thing or that person to help illustrate your point? But in the time it takes to open your phone up, open Safari, type in the search term, then scroll through the images, the moment can quickly come and go if you're not careful. Thankfully, Siri can help. Simply activate Siri and say, show me photos of Nicolas Cage, and there you go, some photos of Nicolas Cage. Or say, show me photos of long-haired miniature dachshund puppies, and there you go, cuteness overload on your home screen. Or show me photos of Hackney. Or show me photos of a 2022 Ford F-150. I'm assuming that what's happening behind the scenes is a Google image search, which would probably explain why I've struggled to find anything that catches this out, but definitely a much easier way of showing someone something than having to mess around with the manual method. Another example of something that you can do, but it's often easier to get Siri to do for you, is to take a screenshot, especially if you're someone who finds the current method of holding multiple iPhone buttons at the same time challenging. As a general reminder, you can take a screenshot on your iPhone by holding the power button and the volume up button together at the same time. If you're using an iPhone with the home button, it's the power button and the home button at the same time. Or activate Siri and simply say take a screenshot. Siri will oblige, and you've got the screenshot visible in the bottom of your screen, just as you would if you'd done it the other way. Your phone has a service called Shazam built into it. This used to be a standalone app up until Apple purchased it back in 2018. You can access it by having it appear as an option in your control center, and then when you're out and about and you hear a song that you like, but you've no idea who sings it or what the song is called, you can tap the icon and hold your phone out to let your iPhone listen to and identify the song for you. But easier than that is to ask Siri to identify it for you. Simply trigger Siri and say, what song is this? And Siri will have a listen and then get back to you with the name of the song and the artist. I mentioned this in a recent reminders video, but I think it's worth discussing here as well. You can have Siri remind you about things that you're doing on your phone at a specific time. For example, if you're browsing Safari and you'd like to be reminded of the page that you're looking at, simply activate Siri whilst you've got the page open in Safari and say, remind me about this in 20 minutes, or remind me about this later, or whatever time frame works for you. A reminder will be created, complete with a link to the site. Same with email. Here I am viewing an email and I've got the email fully open on my phone. I think this is an important step in making this work. And I'm going to say, remind me about this tomorrow. And the reminder is created. This doesn't work all over iOS. It seems to mainly work for a select bunch of first-party apps. So I've been able to get it to work with emails in Apple Mail, web pages in Safari, locations in Maps, and notes in, well, Notes. I have also been able to get this to work in Chrome, although the reminder that's created has a Safari link, which, yeah, classic Apple. You can ask Siri to let you know how many days it is until a specific date, and for particularly well-known dates like major religious festivals, simply saying the name of the festival will usually be enough. So for example, you can trigger Siri and ask how many days until Christmas, or how many days until Chinese New Year. Or if you've got a vacation booked, you could ask something like how many weeks until September 23rd, and Siri can help you with your all-important planning. You can have Siri translate for you, which is of course extremely useful if you're traveling or just generally trying to communicate with somebody in a language that you're unfamiliar with. There is a dedicated translation app on your iPhone, which is excellent, but the Siri integration is really good and makes the whole process extremely easy. Simply activate Siri and ask, how do you say good morning, how are you in Mandarin, for example?
In Mandarin Chinese, good morning, how are you is 早上好，你好吗?
Or how do you say, could you please give me directions to the train station in Spanish?
In Spanish, could you please give me directions to the train station is
¿Podrías darme indicaciones para llegar a la estación de tren, por favor?
The trick here seems to be to begin each request with how do you say, and then speak the exact phrase that you'd like to have translated and include in whatever language you'd like at the end of the phrase. If you're out for dinner and you've got a bill that needs splitting, Siri makes this process extremely easy for you, provided you ask Siri in the correct way. Simply trigger Siri and say split a bill of £68.17 between 3 people, for example, and Siri will split the bill, showing you what each person needs to pay, along with 10, 15 and 20% tips. If you just want to know the tip amount, simply trigger Siri and say what's a 20% tip on a £68.17 bill, for example, and Siri will give you the breakdown. This functionality requires a slight tweak to the settings, but I'll show you exactly what you need to do. You can have Siri read a selection of text, like an email or an article to you, but this is a feature that you need to switch on. It's not on by default. To activate this, head into Settings, then Accessibility, then Spoken Content, and ensure that you have Speak Selection switched on. With this switched on, anytime you're in a document or an email or a site, simply select a passage of text like you usually would, and then choose Speak. Siri will then begin reading the content out to you, and you can activate Siri at any time and say stop to have Siri stop.
Elon Musk has made an offer to buy Twitter with a bid that values the company at $43.4 billion, vowing to unlock the potential of the social media platform by taking it private.
Your iPhone's flash can double as a torch, which I'm sure you already knew, and you typically access it by going to your control center and choosing the torch. But you can ask Siri to do it for you by simply saying torch on or torch off accordingly. Helpful, right? But a fun little trick for you aspiring wizards out there is to say Lumos to switch the torch on, and Nox to switch the torch off. If you've got kids who are Harry Potter fans, let me know in the comments how you get on with this one. So there you go, 10 genuinely useful Siri commands plus a bonus one. What about you? What Siri commands are you using all the time that I've not included here? Drop me a comment and let's talk about it. And as ever, if you found this video useful, do please consider leaving.
Teresa, they call the torch the flashlight? I mean, the flashlight is the torch?
Hold on, I'm coming. I had you muted. I was muted for a while. Okay, yeah. Over here is a flashlight, over there is a torch.
You mean over here is a flashlight, over there is a torch?
Yeah, I got it wrong. You see, I get confused myself. I go back and forth.
Okay. First time I heard that term. Torch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, torch. Yeah. I don't know why it's called a torch, but yeah, I've always known it as a torch until I came to this country as a flashlight.
Right. Okay. Okay. And we can use all of this on our iPad.
Yep.
All this stuff. Okay.
Yep. I'm looking at some of the chat boxes. Thank you, Yvonne. She says, I don't think you could change Siri to something else, meaning another name. Here is, yeah, I think I answered that question from Deborah, third-party apps. Can you make a relief call on the tablet using Siri? A relief call? Not sure about that. That was Vincent. We answered that question. Yvonne says she used Zoom for family meetings. We'll pull out when I get home. Okay. So that's it in a nutshell, guys. Siri can do more than you want it to do. I don't want it to know me. I'm not, and I'm not telling anybody that you should have Siri know you either.
Yeah, that's like Big Brother. Sometimes you don't want to give them too much information.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's nice to see you.
Thank you, Teresa. Those tips were incredible. I loved it.
Yeah. You're welcome. Good to see you. And Vera. I hadn't seen Vera in a while. Is Vera still there? She's probably gone. Okay, guys. Later.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Love you all.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, Brenda. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Kim. How you doing, honey?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm blessed and highly favored.
Hey,
Amen.
Diane.
Hey.